Welcome, brothers and sisters. This is Studio Galaxy 473 in Confer. And as usual, we try to discuss issues and look at topics not because we have answers, but we want to provoke discussion. We want our people start to believe that they have the answer, they have the ability, so they could address the challenges that we have faced. So the topic today is agriculture and government policy. Agriculture and government policy. We have been fighting around with agriculture. Some people say we are subsistence farmers because we are very small. The majority of landowners is under 5 acres. Some people have their homes on the land and they do a little agriculture. Whether it is nutmeg, cocoa, tree crops, vegetable production, animals, some people just like trees. So somebody in Grenada might have 5 acres of land, but they might have about 100 different trees on the land, including the tree bees, bocano, balijay, and bamboo. Now, the government of Grenada, I don't know what the situation is in the other smaller islands in the Caribbean, but I verily believe that is a similar situation that exists. The government of Grenada is the biggest farmer in Grenada. But the government of Grenada don't know that. And first of all, we have to convince the government of Grenada, you are the biggest farmer. The Ministry of Agriculture in Grenada holds some of the most qualified people after education. PhDs, doctorates, master's degree, bachelor's degree. People with serious experience. People who would have traversed the world. Some of them go in China twice. They go in Taiwan. They went to Mauritius. They go to Egypt, Japan. If you hear countries they go, they have seen different models. They have seen different plots. How do we practicalize that when these people come back in Grenada? It seems that we stuck on nutmeg. We stuck on cocoa. We stuck on balijay, bocano, and bamboo. What's wrong with us as a people? We complain about slavery and colonialism. We complain and we quarrel they are not giving us enough money for the crops that we sell. Every extension officer, every master's degree, PhD, those that have big ass, more ass, must know that any country in the world where 80% of your people depends directly or indirectly on agriculture are poor countries. And if you selling raw material, you would not get the best price. So even if you are land of spice and Grenadans have the best beach and your people nice and sweet, you exporting raw material. You exporting cocoa in crocus bag. You exporting nutmeg in crocus bag. Don't expect to get the best price. I challenge any individual to go on government farm. Remember, government in Grenada is the biggest farmer. Granba Estate, Bellevue Estate, Mount Rule Estate, Mount Hartman, etc., etc., etc. Limley. The government is the biggest farmer. When you enter government farm, it's supposed to reflect the policy of government. Let me repeat that. When you enter government farm, that farm supposed to be reflective of government policy. The revolution came in 1979. They had a lot of nice ideas. Hot and sweaty young people. They come with a lot of hate to get rid of the colonial power, to get rid of Eric Gary. Because Eric Gary, although he was one of the first revolutionary in Grenada, but he represented the colonial power. Fine spoken, well dressed, courtly manners and table manners. He had it in abundance. That was repulsive to socialism, communism, and Marxist-Leninism. At that time, we had this struggle in Africa. Rastafarians was in Pinka Farm. Black power in Trinidad and Tobago. Forbes Bonham with democratic socialism, cooperative socialism. And Manley and Dickie Duncan in Jamaica with democratic socialism. Maurice Bishop come on the scene. He was an orator of no mean quality. Very charismatic and loved even by gay rights. They started MNIB. They put the M in NIB. Because Gary had already started NIB, National Importing Board, to maintain the price of basic product. Sugar, rice, milk. They wanted to maintain the price of that. At that time, we had a culture that people believe if they don't drink sugar, they go dead. So they tried to maintain the price of basic product. The revolution came and did a good thing. They had marketing. It was absolutely necessary at the time because they was going in direct opposition to the people who was importing our nutmeg and our cocoa. You remember what the Americans did to Jamaica? They increased the amount of bauxite that they was buying when Jamaica decided to turn into democratic socialism. And Jamaica put more money in production, and then they cut the production. Grass-growing hotel in Jamaica. So Grenada wanted to find alternative market for our products. So they add the M in MNIB. So MNIB, at that time, the objective was to facilitate, assist, subsidize the market of farmers and farm products. But the revolution also intended to make the Ministry of Agriculture the biggest farmer. Governments have come in the past, and although we return to democracy, they know Grenada have a lot of love for socialism and Marxist-Leninism. It is quite true that most of our communists did not go to Cuba. They did not go to Germany. They didn't go to Czechoslovakia, Russia. They went to the very country, United States of America, Canada, and England. But that is communism. Communism is a very hypocritical policy. They practice it in their country, but they want to go in other countries and live. Ghana did the same thing. Forbes Bonham was practicing cooperative socialism. A number of young Guyanese were going to socialist country to study, but Forbes Bonham sent his daughter in European countries. That is the reality. But so many have come after. They have been trained by the University of the West Indies. in Trinidad, in Guyana, and many of the people in agriculture today in Grenada have been trained in the Caribbean. But it seems that the mind is warped. Either the politician not hearing, or the technical people not giving them good advice, and the farmers don't care. The government land must be reflective of the policies of government, the agriculture policies of government. I say that to provoke discussion because the National Democratic Congress have the worst track record in agriculture in Grenada. I do hope they will discuss the issue. When you go to a government farm, you're supposed to see best practices. If you see a piece of cocoa, the cocoa should be used as a demonstration plot. When you go and you watch a nutmeg field, the nutmeg should be used as a demonstration plot. You cannot have nutmeg tree tall as telephone posts. That will make no sense. Because the nutmeg roots is not as deep and is not as long like mango and mottel. So taller the nutmeg tree grow, less it will able to stand the root system will able to support the tree. That is not rocket science. Every ordinary farmer knows that. We continue to plant nutmeg too close. Here the reason behind that. The farmers say plant them close because you don't know what is male and what is female. And when the nutmeg declare, you're going to cut down. Grenada farmer not cutting down female nutmeg. Even if it is 2 feet from one another, they're not cutting down. It's like a man have 2 beautiful women. You tell him, leave one, you're mad, he ain't leaving. Sometimes nutmeg tree so dark, under the nutmeg tree so dark, that when rain comes, you can't even see to pick up nutmeg. So the nutmeg trees are competing for light. Lord have mercy. Where are the agronomists we send in university? They don't know that if you put the trees too close, they will compete for light. I think you have a big word, phototropic. But all we know is they're competing for light. So the government farm must be reflective. Nutmeg should not be planted less than 50 feet apart. And you have to cut the top of nutmeg at a certain height. So the government farm should be a demonstration plot how the farmers should do what. The government have access to the University of the West Indies. Well, that one is a disgrace where agriculture is concerned. The University of the West Indies is a disgrace where agriculture is concerned. John Compton, he said the University of the West Indies has not done justice to agriculture. We worse off than in the days of Pharaoh. Because in the days of Pharaoh, we had the bullocks and the cart. He said we're fighting with the who and the spade. Forbes Bonham in Guyana, he said grow what you eat and eat what you grow. So he banned certain products we didn't grow. That is why you have 5 finger in Grenada. Carambola. People used to take carambola and make currant and raisin in Guyana. Guyana had the reputation for the best black cake in the world. You think Caribbean leaders supported Bonham? You think university graduates supported Bonham? They laugh at Bonham. They never supported Bonham. Guyana is bigger than England. Almost twice the size of England. I think it's 44 something thousand square miles and 83. What right Guyana have to import cheese? but on ban cheese. You say make cheese, you have cow and milk. When you see long line in Guyana, they line up for cheese. They used to call it guy line because Bonham banned cheese. He banned carrots. All flour that come in the country had to mix with cassava flour. So people say the flour they're making good cake. So Guyanese had the best reputation for black cake in the world. Our university have not answered the call of the dream and aspirations of our people. You want to doubt me? Ask the University of the West Indies if what they have done for Grenada, nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science. Do you have export in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science? When Ivan struck down Grenada and killed almost 80 to 90% of the nutmeg, cocoa stand up very well, much better. Grenada go in India for help. An embarrassment of no mean quality. People beg the Ministry of Agriculture and the Nutmeg Association to call back the old extension officers because they know how to market. They bring Indians come here to advise us. And the Indians were searching for the old extension officers and the old farmers to teach them how to market nutmeg. You think the black man don't responsible for the challenge that they have? The Grenada government, you are the biggest farmer. Farmers. The Grenada government, the Ministry of Agriculture is the biggest farmer. So they must practice what they preach. When you enter a government farm, the policy of government must be reflected. You're supposed to see the best practice. Government should have pigs. They have the sow farm. And they have the fatteners. And the government farm supposed to provide statistics that say if you run a 30 sow unit, how much money you should make a month and how long it will take you to break even. Well, what you doing with all this export? One amount of master's degree, PhD, agronomist, veterinarian, and Miss Mabel in Chantimel growing better pig than them. So there is a joke. How I just wonder how this export feel when they can't do nothing. It's like a young boy, a young girl tell you have an A in agriculture. You tell him go and plant a corn. He's telling you which side of the to put the corn on. They learn these people are books. I remember one minister of agriculture. He wrote a beautiful article. He said if each Grenadian home eat 1 pound of cabbage a week, he calculated there was 20,000 homes in Grenada on the basis of 4 persons per home. That is 20,000 pounds of cabbage a week. He wrote that while he was a teacher. He was a historian. When he came to power, he didn't plant one cabbage. Not one cabbage he planted. He wrote about black gold. But when he come to power, the NDC government cut down Belvedere nutmeg to plant banana. We blaming Europeans. We have to stop blaming people. We have to face the truth. Too much Grenadians running away from the truth. When you ask them a question, how kind of long guy they give you? A simple little question. You is a big man. You is an agronomist. They ask you a question. Answer. So the government of Grenada have to understand. Your agriculture policy must be reflective in your farm. You're supposed to have pigs. When your pigs reach 4 or 5 weeks, when a pig drop, we don't say drop. Some people at better school than me would say fall. When your pig drop, I fall. The government farm supposed to teach farmers to try to wean the swines in 4 or 5 weeks. And there should be about 20 pounds when you wean them. The farmer have swine 8 weeks, you don't win yet. The mother the pig like a gangan. When she walking like she dancing soca. Because the young ones, she not getting enough food. The farmer is supposed to feed the pig 5 pounds of food a day for the pig and 1 pound for each swine. So if the pig make 10 swine, it should get 15 pounds of food. But how the farmer going to know that? The government farm supposed to have pigs. Why you have pigs on the farm? For it to be a demonstration plot. That is where you provide technical information for farmer, not reading book. Why you think the individual who become the minister abandon the policy of 1 pound of cabbage a week? He start to eat chicken and lobster in hotel. He forget cabbage. Instead of that, he go and cut down Belvedere nutmeg. Where they plant the Banda nutmeg in Grenada that come in 1884. We have to provoke discussion. We have to discuss these issues. We can't continue to function like that with all this education you have. What you want to do? You want to put your certificate on the partition? You don't partition again. Long ago, everybody have the certificate of the partition. And when you send Christmas card, you used to be on a line on your partition. A whole year. All children that send Christmas card, they on your grandmother partition. Sometimes one sent 10 years ago, it's still there. You have to practicalize your certificate. You have to make a certificate work for you. The government of Grenada is the biggest farmer. So the government have to reflect that in the lands. Why is it the government is not involved in beekeeping? I tell you, the University of the West Indies is a joke. They have not done justice to agriculture. Most of the university experts want to teach and write book. And you hear they say soil dirty. Soil, how soil could be dirty? Why is it the government farm can have about 100 hives? The purpose of the hives on the government farm is for demonstration purpose to show people best practice. So the government could say, if you have 100 hives, you're supposed to collect between 5 to 20 gallons per hive per annum. But because we is the government farm, and some of our workers paying the ass, we only collecting 5 gallons a hive. But I 500 gallons per hive. And if a bottle of honey is $40, and the last time I checked, 12 bottles in a case, and I understand is 6 bottles in a gallon, and you collect 5 gallons, 500 gallons. You multiply that by 6 and you multiply it by 40. So the government farm give the farmers practical statistics. The individual farmers might be more productive than the government. But the government beehive not supposed to make less than 5 gallons per honey. You are Nagma. I tell you, the joke in this country is so big that if you end up in a rum shop, you're getting drunk. It's a big joke. You have Nagma. One of the first things Nagma is supposed to advise people to have when they're buying food is a bottle of honey. Because honey in Grenada is still used as a medicine. It is not used as a sugar. It is used as a medicine. People go to buy one ounce of biscuit and cheese and all kind of thing for hurricane. They don't buy one bottle of honey. In addition to that, by numerically increasing the quantity of bees in the country, you increasing pollination and you increasing productivity. Well, I mean, come on. So what are this college teaching all these people for? I believe people going to school for too long. And look at the government do stripping is expanding school age to 18. When a girl reach 16 years, she reach the age of consent, time for her to start to think about family and making children are going to university, you want them go to school still. The government farm must reflect the government policy. Why the government on the government farm we should have flowers? Because you want to push flowers. You don't want to tell people to plant flowers, you know. You plant flowers and bring farmers who are interested in flowers to see flowers on the market. If he doesn't hear agrarian cry in funeral, if you hear them, oh, oh, nice they making. As they say, they're glad the parents dead. They're bringing artificial flowers. Well, if you love your parents so much, the government's supposed to play on that and encourage people to use natural flowers because of the environment. I agree with Donald Trump. Not this position he modified. You know. This environmental thing is a hoax. And those individuals on it is a hoax. The hypocrite and pretending. All of them buying artificial flowers. Well, if you love the environment so much, why don't you push natural flowers? And the government growing anthurium lilies. And the government could tell people, if you grow 1 acre of anthurium lilies, at the price of that, what amount of you might make more money than a permanent secretary. So you practicalize the story. Israel have done exceptionally well in flowers. The flowers industry is $1 billion industry. Cuba has done well in flowers. Belgium and other European countries. Women in Grenada, you can't get them flowers for Valentine. You want to bring them in some club, buy meat and chicken for them to eat, and they're getting fat. Why don't you encourage flowers for Valentine? The government could invest $2,000 in flowers and get men and women in the Ministry of Agriculture to volunteer to give flowers and receive flowers. So the Ministry of Agriculture buy the flowers, and one of the male take it and go and give it to one of the women. But it's an advertisement stunt. So they have to walk out with the flowers exposed and do as if they're happy. After you do that for 5 years, you see Ghanaian girl walking with flowers on the street. The Ministry of Agriculture have a marketing arm. What they marketing? Tell me what they marketing. What they marketing? The government should be telling people how much poultry you have to rear, how much layers, how much boilers to make an income of $3,000 a month. You see some people tell me, I want to go in 100 fowls. I say, you crazy? What you want 100 boilers for? The time you're taking to feed 100 boilers is the same time you take it with 500. You must buy a fridge for... What happened to us? These things are taking place because we like a branch in the ocean, a boat in the ocean with no engine, no sail, and no oar. If we're lucky, we end up on Garans Beach. If we don't so lucky, we end up on Mackey Rock. Or they see the boat and they don't see you. The Ministry of Agriculture, the policies of the government must be reflected in the Ministry of Agriculture. When are we going to learn? We have to hold this discussion because the University of the West Indies doesn't help us. We have some official children going to school now. If you see them in school, they go in agriculture. When they finish in National College, they want to go in university to study agriculture. They don't run in a pig. You know. They ain't planting banana. And when they come out from the university with a briefcase of certificate, they go in and look for a job. Big hardback man, you know. They have their master's degree at 35, as if that is an achievement. Walter Rodney had a PhD at 24 and 25. They ban him in most countries in the Caribbean because his views was too radical. Man, 35, 40 years looking for a master's degree, looking for a bachelor's degree. So there's a joke. Children supposed to be getting the degree, the bachelor's and master's by 22. They don't have nothing to do. What you spending all this long time in school doing? You hiding away from procreation? You lazy and you don't want to be productive? Are you preparing to work with somebody? Look at all the rich people in Grenada. How much PhD they have? All the people with the big supermarkets, 9 and 10 place. How much PhD they have? They employ accountant to check their money. And only why? Because they have to pay government tax. We have to change our attitude. And the government of Grenada needs to take the lead. But I don't expect this group to do it. But I believe if we provoke discussion, if we discuss the issues, if we face reality, maybe in the next 100 years we might change. A man tell me agriculture dying. I tell him no. Agriculture changing hand. There are some foreigners that come in and buy up our land. They're very quiet because they come with a 1,000-year plan. We're selling, young people selling the lands and buy vehicles, transport. Financial institution giving you loan to play mass. They give you loan to travel. But they would not give you loan to start beekeeping. They said that too risky. They wouldn't give you loan to start a rabbitry. They said that too risky. Lord. The government of Grenada have a ban on manikou, wild meat, and rightly so, because you could overhunt. Well, the rabbit supposed to be the substitute for those who want to eat manikou. Born rabbit. Women don't too like rabbit. They say you look as a child, so you don't want to eat rabbit. But these modern day women don't making children anyway, so they could start to eat rabbit. The government of Grenada could grow rabbit on the farm and introduce rabbit in the school twice a week. You could use a control area, 4 or 5 schools, twice a week for 5 years. And by doing so, you change your people's habit to eat rabbit. You have to invest. You remember once all of us used to go and watch Chinese movie? That was to accept Chinese in Grenada. We like the Chinese. All Chinese we see, we think they could fly in the air and do impossible things. We as a people have to change. We have to change. The Ministry of Agriculture needs to do better. They need to sit down and think tank. And the farmers need to provoke those discussions. The farmers may not have the money to open a demonstration plot. So if the farmer invests, the farmers don't want to invest in sheep and goat. They don't know when they go break even. When they invest in bees, when I go break even, they're unable to expand. Because if they start with 20 hives and you say to them, sacrifice the first year of honey so you could able to multiply, they don't bother with you. They sell all the honey in the first year. So half the bee die when the rainy season comes. But the government could say, no, we're going to sacrifice the honey. We started 20 hives. By the time 3 years, we have 100 hives. And you could teach the farmer. You have the whole Caribbean, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia. Those little islands. Guyana can do it. Trinidad can do it. These islands could produce queens. They could commercially produce queens. And they could sell queens to the entire region. One queen bee could be $100. A breeder queen could be $1,000. A good beekeeper wants to requeen his hive every year, every 12 months. But a queen could last for about 6 years. So you could have a queen in a hive mama guying herself because she's no longer productive. But if you is a serious farmer in production, you don't want to keep a queen for 2 years. Where you get queen? How are you going to expand? When a new person come in bee, how are they going to expand? Grenada used to bring in queens from Hawaii because Hawaii was considered as the safest place in this world. Because Canada, Europe, United States of America, there are too much disease. Guyana, South America have Africanized bees. Venezuela is 7 miles from Trinidad. So Trinidad have Africanized bees. So Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia could produce queens for Trinidad, for Guyana, for Venezuela, for the United States of America, for Canada, for you. What happened to us as a people? Why is it we cannot look at the niches and zero in on it? Every time I look at some of the experts in the Ministry of Agriculture, I feel sorry for them. Better you go and study to work in a lab. So the day in the lab, nobody can see them. They just say watching virus and microscope and protozoan. They're counterproductive for the development of the future. And we are not holding them accountable. Every time you speak in Grenada, they think it's politics. Well, yes, you are attacking policies. And that is politics. It doesn't mean that you're going after a particular party. But you have to deal with the party in power. To take the baton. Is baton that is having sports? Baton? And police, baton. And police has a baton. They'll beat you up with that. It's to take the police baton and beat up them with the baton. The government in power have to do better than the government, the ex-government. Because you have had the experience of the past government. So every time you elect a government, you expect them to do better. If they're doing worse, something wrong with the people who select them. We have to be cognizant of the fact that where some people go in praying, where some people go in cursing, others can go pray. Let me repeat that. All Grenadians are Christians. You have to be aware, you have to be cognizant of the fact that where some people go cursing, others can go pray. Some people are orators. They could speak and make you cry. They could speak and make you listen. They could speak and make a vexed woman blush. They're good. And when you get them in politics, you have to be careful. Because sometimes the policies are not accountable, productive, but they have charm. They could speak well. So if you don't discuss the issues, you sign in your own death warrant. We in Grenada have been making bad decisions. We have been signing our death warrant. We have been selling our children future. We are going to hell. When judgment morning come, St. Peter don't asking you how much time you prayed. He asking you, what did you do for agriculture? Because that's where you spend all your life. You think you're going to spend 40 years in agriculture and St. Peter go ask if you pray? He go ask you what you do with agriculture. Because to work is to pray. Why you think is in current the first time they call the people Christians? Based upon the life they live. People watch you and they say these people nicely and they're generous and they're genuine and they're kind and they're loving, they call you Christian. Based upon your work. So if you're involved in agriculture and you're a policy maker and you screw up agriculture, straight hell you go. Unless like the thief on the cross, you ask God for forgiveness. We could do better. We have beekeeping. We have flowers. We have shrimp. Not shrimp. Sea moss. We have sea moss. That one again is like gold on the market. And sea moss have a very long shelf life. You hear the Ministry of Agriculture marketing sea moss? No. You know why Dias didn't send Sousin in jail? She used to sell set. So the magistrate didn't send her in jail because he used to buy set from her. He charged her $80. And imagine in those days when you charge her $80, the whole tongue ball. She said, Dias put it in my ass today. He tell her the only reason he sent her in jail because he wanted his set. She must stay long. But why can't we see the economic importance of this niche? What's about Boabande now? Everybody wants it. All the man wants it. Well, these days, women all want it. Are we investing in Boabande? Those people that have Bokano, Baliji, and bamboo, even the government are planting that too, you know. Why not plant Boabande? Why not plant Boabande? Why are you getting in Bokano? Bokano good, but why are you getting in it? Why are you getting in Dandakayo? You're not using all this bamboo. You stop using Baliji. But why you don't encourage the farmers in the higher belt to plant Boabande? Something have to wrong with us. The United States of America have the best well-oiled army. And I'm convinced, when I see the stupid Russia doing, I'm convinced. But the United States have special squad. If Grenada is an army, then our university graduates are special squad. They are supposed to take the lead. The highest risk should come from them because they're more educated. They're more knowledgeable. They have traversed the world. They have seen different people do different things. And they could come back and practicalize what they learned. Some of the most unproductive people in the country is with best friends. And I am convinced that children spending too long in school. because they like school so much they don't want to leave. 30 years, 40 years, they're looking for master's and bachelor's degree. Unproductive. We have to start to force our government ministers, our politicians, our people to think. You can compete with the American Congo economy and scale. You can compete with cocoa from Africa. Look at cocoa. Every time I speak about cocoa, I don't want to say much about them. I like my chocolate so much. And nowadays, some of them home shop I visit, they just give me a little chocolate. But we have chocolate produce companies producing chocolate. Could you get a chocolate for $1? Could you get a local chocolate for $1? No. They're producing chocolate for tourists. Children can buy chocolate. $14 and $15. You want your people to consume more chocolate because they claim chocolate is romantic. You have certain chemicals in it that make you feel happy. Valentine, we're supposed to have a nice gift with flowers, spice, honey, and chocolate. But you have to encourage your women to accept it from the men as an act of love. The women prefer the chicken and making them fat, fat, fat. The government policy, I don't know how much we could entreat that on stakeholders, on politicians, on the young people who want to be politicians, because I give up on these vultures that we have. But young people who want to be politicians, the agricultural policy must be reflective in the government estate, the government farm. Government is the biggest employer. So when you go on a government farm, you must see the government policy clear out. And it must be a demonstration plot. And it must be able to show the people, yes, you're growing sheep and goat. This is how you fence for them. You have to fence differently for the sheep than the goat, because goat head hard like rock. But in 3 years, if you farm X amount of goat, you're likely to break even. A pound of goat meat now is about $15 to $20. Without bringing tripe from away. Nowadays, when Gradient kill goat, they don't clean in tripe. They stop that. Some people, for religious belief, they're not eating blood pudding. But they're going in Barbados and eat black pudding. Barbados changed the name from blood pudding to black pudding. And some of the religious people here who don't eat in blood pudding, when they go in Barbados, they like black pudding. That is what you call marketing. Some Rasta doesn't eat pig, but they bless it, they call it Trenton. And they eat Trenton. That is a marketing stunt. Why don't you have marketing officers in the Ministry of Agriculture? What I speak to provoke discussion. I do hope that we could discuss the issue. I'm not saying I don't have the answers, but I believe that if we sit down and discuss these issues, we're better able to come out of it. Some of the richest people I know in Grenada were farmers. I feel very proud when I speak about Hoodoo Forrester, one of the dons in the community, a very humble, respectful individual who owned more than 100 and something acres of land and who was poor as church mice. And then you have other foresters and a number of names. Franco in Hermitage. They were all farmers. Some of them opened stores to keep their wife occupied. Say a hardworking farmer cannot afford to have a wife that is not hardworking. So you open a store, she generating her own income and business. So we need to do better. I don't know who teaching these children in school. Because the children have encountered, involved in agriculture, they don't want to go in the land. I don't know if they want to do agriculture on the computer. And it is very sad and very unfortunate that our children don't understand the value of the land. You can't build anything in the sky. Soil is not dirty. If you're kneading flour and somebody pours some sugar in it, the sugar become like a weed. Soil is not dirty. Soil is where you produce things. But if you have the mentality, the attitude that agriculture is dirty work, then you're dirty twice. No, when you're involved in agriculture, you can't starve. And instead of you running all along the road and causing accident on the road with vehicle, when you're in the land, you're getting exercise. You're using your arm, you're bending, you're stooping, you're twisting, you're turning. Some of the most beautiful women I see was in agriculture. When I watch them, I say, yes, if that data could look so. But when our children come out in school, it seems they hate agriculture. Even if the parents is extremely wealthy, they sell in the land and buy car. But where they get these dotish people on them? They prefer a car. Instead of using the land, invest in it, and then buy the car. They sell in the land to buy the car. After 4 or 5 years, the insurance don't even want you. Because the depreciation on the car is about 10%. From the time you walk out of the store with the vehicle, 10 or 15% gone. So we have to refocus. And Grenada is very fortunate. We have the most landowners in the region. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the world. Thanks to Eric Gay, Land for the Landless program. You see, Eric Gay was one of the best he carried out one of the best social revolution. When Russia and them had the revolution, they keep the land for the state. Cuba, they keep the land for the state. But Gary gave the land to the proletariats. And then he said the children of labor turn against labor. We need to do better as a people. We need to hold discussion on the economic importance, the niche market, and the value of crops. We need to consume more cocoa. We need to do that. You're supposed to go in any rum shop and get a cup of cocoa. I want a cup of cocoa. Some rum shop you could get a cup of coffee. I have to make nice. Those rum shop I visit with regularity. If I want a cup of cocoa and they don't give me, I'm not buying it. And they know when I sell cocoa, I don't spend money as if I'm crazy. So they'll provide it for me. But if we consume more of that, if we sit down and look at the niche market, if we look at the potential for flowers, for beekeeping, for pigs, all Grenadian like pork, Rasta eating pork, Adventist eating pork. The Adventist doesn't pork, they eating ham. So it means a pound of pork is about $12. And within three months to 6, 7 months, your fatness supposed to give you 150 pounds of meat. You win at 4 or 5 weeks, and if you feed correctly, and we're very fortunate in Grenada, we don't have much disease. And although we barbecue, we cook we meat to death. So we don't have to bother about trichinella and other diseases, other parasites in pig. We season a lot. We cook we meat to death. What's wrong with us? You have a great source of protein in rabbit, and rabbit is easy to handle. You have the sea moss. Sea moss quick to recover. Even after a hurricane pass, you could recover with sea moss quickly. You have one amount of people could swim. They by the bayside. Train them. The Ministry of Agriculture has not been leading. And I think the University of the West Indies is a joke. They have not been helping the Caribbean agriculture. And I dare you to challenge me on that. We should have, people should go and get a degree in nutmeg, cocoa, and spice science. Where are our exporting nutmeg, cocoa? Where are they? Look at we have sauce up again. Another crop. We can't satisfy the market. We planting barley, bakanu, and bamboo. How much acres of sauce up the government have? You have to do husbandry practice on sauce up, and you have to do pollination. And people harvesting your sauce up for you, you get $2.55 or $3 or $4. One of the best crop. We cannot supply any day. Mexico is accepted for fresh sauce up on the market. Crap or smoke, we pipe without tobacco. And we have one amount of politicians running around like fall with wings wet. And people supporting these jokers. And this government is the worst. They have the worst track record where agriculture is concerned. If you don't believe me, go and find out who cut down Belvedere Nutmeg. Who finally dismantled the marketing board. Who fired 31 workers from Grand Bay Estate. Who closed down the pest management unit for the cotton scale insect. Mad people are doing this thing on them. Mad people. When will we wake up? So I want to beg us, Studio Galaxy 473 in Confer, beg you to discuss the issue. All we do is to provoke discussion. Thank you very much. Yeah, we could end here. Thank you very much. Yeah.